Although it appears very bright white, its surface is actually dark, with a reflectance just slightly higher than that of a worn asphalt. Its prominence in the sky and its regular cycle of phases have, since ancient times, made the moon an important cultural influence on language, calendars, art, and mythology. The moon's gravitational influence produces the ocean tides and the slight lengthening of the day. The revolution of the moon around the earth makes the moon appear as if it is changing shape in the sky. From earth, we see the moon grow from a thin crescent to a full disk or a full moon, and then shrink back to a thin crescent again before vanishing for a few days. An eclipse is a shadow formed in space due to which a celestial body becomes invisible for some time. There are only 3 celestial bodies in space very close to us. One of them is the Earth, on which we live and observe things. The other 2 are the Sun and the Moon. The names solar eclipse and lunar eclipse are related to what they hide. The solar eclipse hides the Sun for a short period of time. A lunar eclipse hides the Moon for a slightly longer period of time. During a solar eclipse, the moon blocks the light coming from the sun. It comes between the earth and the sun in such a way that all 3 lie in the same line. The dark shadow that we see taking over the sun is nothing but the dark side of the moon. Now, what about the lunar eclipse? We know that a lunar eclipse hides the moon for a while. But what is the object casting that shadow? Well, the sun cannot cast a shadow since it is a luminous object. Yes, it is the earth which causes that shadow on the moon. So, the shadow you see crawling across the moon during a lunar eclipse is actually the shadow of the earth on which you stand and watch. This changing shape of the bright part of the moon that we see is called its phase. What causes the different phases of the moon? Well, the phases of the moon depend on its position in relation to the sun and the earth. As the moon makes its way around the earth, we see the bright part of the moon's surface at different angles. These are called phases of the moon. The moon is illuminated because it reflects the light from the sun. The part of the moon facing the sun is lit up. The part facing away from the sun is in darkness. There are 8 phases of the moon. It takes our moon about 29.5 days to completely cycle through all the 8 phases. This is known as a lunar month. The moon can sometimes be seen in the daytime sky and sometimes in the nighttime sky. The moon rises and sets just like the sun does. The time when the moon rises and sets depends mostly on its phases. The new moon occurs when the moon and the sun are on the same side of the earth. The moon is between the sun and the earth and therefore lost in the glare of the sun. We can't see a new moon because the lit side is facing directly away from the earth. The new moon rises at dawn and sets at sunset. Despite the close proximity between the earth and the moon, there's a big difference between the surface of the moon and the earth's. Much of the difference between the 2 celestial bodies is caused by the absence of the following attributes on the moon: an atmosphere, bodies of water, and plate tectonics. Since the Earth's moon doesn't have a significant atmosphere, nothing can stop even the smallest meteoroids from striking its surface. As a result, the lunar surface is heavily cratered. As a matter of fact, tiny craters are quite common even on lunar rocks. By contrast, small meteorites that pass through the Earth's atmosphere are easily vaporized and hence are not able to form craters on the land below. The absence of liquid water on its surface has allowed the moon to preserve much of its ancient geological features. Here on Earth, erosion can alter and cover formations over time. Plate tectonics, which is also absent on the Moon, is another big factor that makes the terrain of the two celestial bodies different.